Welcome back to Man Across the New Horizons. I'm dear darling. Shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today, where you know what it is. It's December 1st, Christmas time. No, I'm joking. But, I mean, if you've been out and about, I don't know how it has been for you, but it has been for me, at least. The Christmas things have started, you know. I'm already hearing Christmas songs playing. I'm already seeing Christmas decorations up, despite the fact that Christmas has very much evolved into a whole entire month-long thing, which is wild in the first place, but, I guess that's just kind of a norm now, to be honest, and it's not something that I really care that much about, you know, in the first place, that it's creeping up forward and forward. It's not like there's much else happening, I suppose, in the start of December, so why not get in the festive spirit? But anyway, good evening, everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, 7:23pm on Thursday, December 1st, 2022. Oh, Celeste's here doing some stargazing. Oh, okay. Wait, I didn't realise you actually had dialogue if Celeste is actually here, but, you know, 7:23, of course, so, yeah, she would be here. We'll go seek her out and see if we can get a recipe from her. That also might mean that there might be shooting stars tonight, but, you know, am I going to be doing that? Who knows? But yeah, we're going to be vibing as per usual. I don't know what to talk about. Yeah, no, I don't really know what to talk about. Maybe I shouldn't have thrown that as well, but I think that was probably the same as last year, and probably the years before that is letter. I know, one of my friends sent like one of those YouTube videos where people play like a really complicated, not complicated, but really like grandiose musical piece on like a toy instrument or something. This one being Neon Genesis Evangelion Cruise Angel Thesis on a cat piano. And I don't know, I guess it sort of like makes me reminiscent, you know, my, you know, these like childhood musical toys, because I don't really think I had many musical toys. It was a thing because I started playing piano actually quite young. I mean, I think I started when I was 3. I'm not really sure though. They're the exact ages. And you might be like, oh, did your parents make you? No, it was actually something I wanted to do of my own accord, you know. Because I think my sister at the time was having like piano lessons, and I was like, oh, you know, I was like, I want to learn to play piano too. And then, you know, I had piano lessons. I would say my first piano teacher, not that great. She was okay, but, you know, I was not particularly fond of her style per se. She was not even I mean, maybe she was strict. It might be just like my childhood mind sort of like warping, but, you know, we didn't quite gel. But then I had a second teacher at some point, and he was fantastic. He was great. To be perfectly honest, the only reason I stopped doing piano is I eventually got kind of burnt out of doing it, and was just like, I just want to stop now. But yeah, I didn't really have many musical instrument like toy things when I was younger, which is weird to think about, considering like I have a bit of a musical background in the first place. And I can't think of any at the top of my head, because it's very, very classic with musical toys. You know, there's like the musical keyboard where you like press a note and then it goes like oink, 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 or like a different animal noise at every single pitch or whatever. And the one I always think about is like the glockenspiel, not xylophone, because I don't know, because I feel like a toy xylophone. Oh, no, there's your Bluey reference. Bluey's a new Phineas and Ferb like song reference. That's the era we're in right now. The era is defined by which cartoons I reference. It's Phineas and Ferb, My Little Pony, or the Bluey era. Because toy xylophones, I think, are a lot more common. But for some reason, at least when I was younger, I only ever saw a glockenspiel. And I think part of it's particularly tied to the fact in primary school, we had like this toy glockenspiel in one of my year 1 class or something. It was completely random memory, but I might as well tell you for no apparent reason. But there's this one lesson in year 1, or maybe it's year 2, which sticks in my head to this day because of what it taught me. But like it was a thing where it was like the teacher was like, okay, everyone close their eyes, I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna make a noise, and then everyone needs to point to where that noise came from. And then of course, you know, we were like, okay, and then we saw her, and she was like, okay, everyone close their eyes, and we knew exactly where she was standing. And then she like hits she like plays a note on the glockenspiel or something, and we all like point directly to her because we literally saw about 5 seconds ago. And she's like, open your eyes, and, you know, she was standing there like, wow, good job. And then she does it again or something she moves like across the room, does it again, and then the third time she does it, she was like, everyone close their eyes, and everyone just basically, you know, everyone's primed to already point at her. So as soon as the noise goes off, everyone just points at her. But then, you know, we open our everyone opens their eyes, and she's not even holding the glockenspiel. It's the teacher's assistant on the other side of the room holding the glockenspiel, because she played a note. And I remember that because only one person in our class actually, or maybe a couple of people, but only one person I remember, which was like my best friend at the time. actually correctly pointed to the teacher's assistant to be like, hey, that's the direction it came from. And I admit to myself, I just pointed out a teacher, you know. I'm someone who finds patterns, I suppose, and, you know, I saw a pattern, I stuck to a pattern. But I remember that sticks in my head because I was like, wow. Like, it's sort of like, obviously the lesson there is like, you know, you don't just like assume something, you know, challenge your assumptions. They're not always correct. Use the information given in front of you, you know, don't just be confident in something which, you know, you expect to happen, because it might not always happen that way. But I remember that lesson just so like strongly in my head, because I even remember like going home like with every day after at school being like, wow, I was still thinking about it, being like, I can't believe like I like it, because at the time it was baffling to me, because I was like, you know, I was like, did I legitimately hear the sound coming from the teacher rather than the teacher's assistant? Like, why did I point to the teacher so readily? Like, it wasn't even like a conscious choice where it was just like, I'm actually, it just like sort of like in my mind I was like, was I never actually properly listening to the sound in the first place, despite that being like the task? So the task, what's like taskmaster, being like what we had to do. Well, no, I guess that is appropriate use of task now I think about it. So it stuck in my head, you know, from my age, and bearing in mind this is year 1, so I was like 6 or something, so, you know, it's not the most profound lesson in the world, of course, but it's something which, you know, I'm sure it shaped very much of how I approached work, I suppose, and, you know, like doing things in the future, where I was like, oh, you know, do what is asked of you, that sort of thing, like do it based off the information you have, rather than just like assuming something. Like, you can go into assumptions, but you can't use that as your basis for your answer, you know. You gotta you know, build it out from something in the first place, right? Anyway, so that's a lesson about the toy glockenspiel. Maybe I'll just call this episode Toy Xylophone anyway. We'll continue with Bluey trend, why not? If you don't know, it's because there's a Bluey episode called Toy Xylophone. It's actually like the first episode. No, it's called Magic Xylophone now, whatever. Never mind, Toy glockenspiel then it is. Or Toy, I don't know. I just remember it, just like that's so fondly in my head. I'm like, wow, I can't believe. Anyway, this is a really long story, Phoebe, which I definitely should have read, but I apologise that I didn't. So yeah, I don't know, don't challenge your assumptions, don't just assume things, everything is not what it seems when you can get what you want. Okay, the second part of that doesn't really make sense in the context of this, and also that's the Wizards of Waverly Place. Sure, Vivian. That's a Wizards of Waverly Place theme song. But yeah. But I don't know, we had that glockenspiel in the classroom, which is a bit weird to say, because, you know, glockenspiels are very, like, quite loud and quite sort of like ringing sort of sound, aren't they? But they're not like a xylophone is like, you know, it's got that blocky wood sound, which is quite nice and quite quaint, isn't it? But glockenspiels themselves are just sort of like bring, bring. They're like probably the kind of noisemaker you don't really want to give to a child, because it's sort of just like that's gonna, you know, absolutely drive you up the wall, I'd imagine. But, you know, that's neither here nor there, you know. I don't know why they're such a popular toy in the end. Anyway, oh, hello, Vivian, you particularly like this astrology corner. My goodness, have you noticed something fishy about your roommate here, Mountain? I'm terribly sorry. I simply couldn't help myself, sweetheart. Your goldfish is wonderful. Do take good care of it, my dear. I didn't realise that they had, like, specific dialogue about fish. That's pretty cool. Right, we actually have a lot of fish in here. We have another coelacanth, we have a random turtle. I don't know why, and like, it's been literally years, I think, since I've decorated like the inside of my house. Why does it look so weird? Oh, you know what? I bet it's because I thought the conception at the time was that these were lucky items, and that they actually influenced stuff in the game, which is, you know, it was true in previous games, but it's no longer true in this game. So that's why I put all these random items down, because they're lucky items. It's just very random. Gone other days, so I actually read out what they're saying. I'm not really sure fortune telling's my hobby or whatever, but, you know, fair enough. I don't know what else can. I don't have any other stories about that toy xylophone. Sorry, glockenspiel. It's not even a xylophone. And even worse, I don't even think it was a toy glockenspiel. I think it was just a legitimate, like, mini glockenspiel, because now I think about it, it wasn't. In my mind, when I first started telling the story, it was painted like in rainbow colours, because that's what they do for these toy ones to, you know, I suppose differentiate children. They each make a different note. But I'm pretty sure it was just like a metal silver glockenspiel or whatever. I just remember in our primary school we had a lot of xylophones and glockenspiels, which like were played in band, and you might be like, did you ever get to play one? I didn't, because, you know, I played violin at the time, and not enough people played violin, so I had to play violin. The xylophone and glockenspiels were for people who didn't like take music or didn't have music, didn't play another musical instrument. They were there and they could like play them or something in the band. I don't know, but you know, at the time I was like, oh, I want to play the xylophone or glockenspiel. But you know, looking back in retrospect, that's a good way to do it. You know, that and recorders and tend to be sort of go-to easier instruments for kids to pick up, right? So you know, why not give it to the people? Give a bit of opportunity for musical learning, I would say. Anything which allows more people exposure to something is fantastic, I think. I'm just going on, like, educationally speaking. Excuse me. Okay. That seems pretty good now. Should we take our leave, Vivian? Yep, I'm done here, Vivian. It is a bit strange. We can't say to Vivian, be like, well, you know, that's enough. We can't talk to you to be like, hey, it's time to leave or something. I had to literally leave the house and be like, bye. But anyway, we got limited time, Vivian, unfortunately. We need to find Celeste. We've got errands to run, and the errands are find Celeste and I suppose have a drink of coffee at Brewster. But yeah, we also need to do Cap'n Island. I don't think we've done that yet. But yeah, what was I going to say? I don't know. Glockenspiels and xylophones, I think are very nice instruments. Like those things. Marimba is quite nice. What's the handheld like? Kalimba, right? That's it. You know, there's that famous YouTube channel which had that golden retriever or Labrador retriever. I don't remember which one's which again. Well, the long-haired one. In the videos where the guy would play like a kalimba or like a guitar, and then like the dog would be there in the video, and it's super relaxing. And unfortunately, I don't know why I remember, I believe the dog's called Maple or something. Unfortunately, Maple passed away like a couple of years ago or something, but it was a very, you know, moving moment, I think, for a lot of people. You know, music just connects people. I don't know what this weird tangent is, but there you go. Anyway, those things I think sound quite nice. Well, the xylophone is a very sort of satisfying sound, isn't it? To like the dum. I can't do a xylophone noise, but you know what I mean. It's very sort of satisfying noise to listen to. It's a bit underappreciated, I think, you know, musical instrument. You know, because back in school, you think about like the musical instruments people learn. Piano, obviously, probably the most common one. I don't know what would be second most common. In my school, it was probably violin, is my guess. And then what would it be? I don't know. I'm trying to think of other people learn. Like we had this is primary school, by the way. We had someone, he learned guitar. We had a girl, she learned clarinet, and someone else learned oboe. I'm really just trying to remember what other instruments people have learned. It was mostly just violin, for whatever reason. Like, and you never hear about someone learning to play xylophone or glockenspiel, I suppose, like taking lessons for it. Actually, some other like classmates I remember took recorder lessons back in the day. You might be like recorder, because the recorder definitely has the association with like sort of like kids learning it in school or whatever. And you might be like, can you play recorder? Yes, I can, because of school, because of that sort of thing. But I remember I actually took grades in it and that sort of thing, which is not a thing I realised you could do at the time. But I was like, that makes perfect sense once I heard about it. And they were pretty good. I remember doing these scales, they played these pieces. It had a lot more nuance compared to, you know, the hot cross bands we play in school time. But you know what's even more interesting, the fact that the recorder is commonly associated as that sort of like school time instrument, is the fact that when it came to secondary school, we didn't do recorder, we did penny whistle. For some reason. I'm not sure, it feels very sort of like old English traditional thing. And what's even weirder is we didn't even get a penny whistle, you know, to play. With a recorder, we everyone got like a recorder to take home and, you know, like practice music with or whatever. But we didn't get a penny whistle. Like I remember in secondary school, there was like this big bucket of like penny whistles, which was filled with like this sanitizing solution or something, which you had to put your penny whistle in afterwards to clean it after the lesson was done, so like the next class could use it or whatever. Which obviously now in these sort of like post-pandemic times, you're sort of like, even still, I think you'd much rather just give every student like a penny whistle to use during their music lessons. But I just remember it because I remember the taste of that, like the cleansing or the cleaning solution, just like so gross. Like it was like a weird, I don't even know. Is it a very indescribable taste? I would say, but obviously it's not meant to be edible in the first place. It's not like you like the cleaning fluids. You're meant to taste it and be like, this is like in the process of being like inoculated. So Yeah, and we only had like 2 lessons on the penny whistle, which is weird because we had so many more lessons in a recorder. I will say my secondary school music was, as a lesson, was greatly underappreciated and greatly underemphasized, I think. I think music can be a very fun way for kids to sort of like relax and like express themselves creatively. It's just like it's got a bit of a harder, I think, skill flaw than art does, because at least art, like everyone, even if everyone can understand the concept of like how to draw pretty well, but like the concept of how to play music is like it's very difficult to create music that sounds good in any sort of satisfying capacity, I suppose. And you know, learning to play music is a skill in its own right. So you know, it's a bit unfortunate. Oh, you are, Celeste. You're just hanging out on the roost, the bird's nest up here, keeping Amelia company, I see. Oh, good evening. The stars just exquisite tonight. I don't remember what voice I gave you. It's been so long since I was, you know, it's not something I just thought about until just now. But like, it's been so long since I voiced most of the NPCs apart from Isabel. But I basically don't remember most of their voices anymore. Like, I don't remember what voice I gave Mabel and Zabel, to be honest. But Skateboard Asteroid. Yeah, nice. A new recipe. But yeah. We kind of strayed from like xylophones and glockenspiels. Like, we didn't even have toy xylophones or toy glockenspiels. They were like legitimate, proper xylophones and glockenspiels, and we had so many. I don't know why we had so many. I remember they were just like stacked. They were always like stacked up in like this musical like cupboard-esque area, and I was like, it's time to bring them out. And then there's like, you know, the 20 people had to go and like lift out these glockenspiels and xylophones. I really don't have any idea why we had so many, but there you go. Maybe it was just a music teacher's favorite instrument. Well, as I understand it now, my music teacher doesn't teach her anymore about primary school. I think she retired. She was quite old from... That sounds really rude, but like she was like old, I suppose. And when she taught me, at the very least, and you know, it's been like 20 years since then. No, toy xylophone. Xylophone. Like, yeah, that's the typical toy xylophone, you know, like imagine. Rainbow coloured. It's a bit of a weird rainbow colour. What? Oh, it's a looping rainbow colour. It's like a rainbow colour, except for it doesn't start at red. It just goes... Yeah, this is the one I'm imagining. It goes red, orange, yellow, you know, the normal rainbow. This one just goes so weird. It goes blue, green, yellow, orange, red, purple, white, blue, which is like a backwards rainbow starting at blue. Like, why? Also, the sticker's like very weird. Sensory toys. What is this like xylophone stick? It looks like a key. I'm looking at a different one. This one isn't even rainbow order. It goes blue, yellow, red, green, purple, orange, pink, cyan. That's an absolutely insane order. This one looks very satisfying. Just put it in rainbow order. Why are they all starting at blue? I don't get it. It's so weird. Like, the whole point is meant to be like as differentiated in colours, right? And you know, rainbows are very aesthetically pleasing colour palette. Just let's use a rainbow. Why do so many of them start at blue? Is blue like the default colour for the note C for some reason? I've got no clue. What if I search like school xylophone? Do you think it'll come up? I don't know if it's like a quintessentially sort of like British thing to have like these big xylophones and all glockenspiels in school, whatever. I mean, this is kind of similar to what we had. Yeah, this is basically it. And you get like a little like the mallets with like the red on the end, and it's just like boom, bom 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 bom. Yeah, when you want to play the xylophone. A xylophone, I don't know. It kind of makes me want to play the xylophone for really no apparent reason. I don't know why I wanted to play the xylophone so much. I literally got a piano like about a couple meters to my left, which I should play more often. It's hard to find the time, you know. I've got too many things that I want to do like all the time, as many people do in their lives. So just like trying to find the time to actually play it is difficult. Difficult, lemon difficult. But I definitely should. Oh, hello tarantula. I forgot that we're playing late enough that tarantulas are spawning. You might be like, go catch it. Nah. We've already got enough tarantulas. We've got a tarantula statue and we've got one in the museum. Don't need any more. I don't need the bells. But anyway, I'm going to round off this episode here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Any likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Join me in Dear Darling Discord, follow me on Twitter down below. Hope we see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time. Bye-bye for now.